In this video, I'm going to be talking about how you should be bringing up potential pitfalls that you see coming at work. Let's get into it. As you gain experience in an engineering organization, if you're paying attention, you should start being able to see things coming before they happen. If you really want to get ahead and get up to a staff or consulting or the top roles, whatever the title is inside your organization, pay attention. Getting up to those higher roles really comes down to being able to forecast and see several steps ahead for potential pitfalls that the group might be wandering into. I could say this of all of my engineering mentors, they've had almost a sixth sense to where they can be like, well, you can do that, but I'd watch out for this. And that is really what shows the top level engineers, because they can see several steps ahead, almost like a butterfly effect or a matrix in their head. They can see so many different alternatives and alternate realities to where, oh, we shouldn't do this because of this. They're kind of like grandmasters. And this is what you need to do to start seeing these pitfalls coming. How do you bring these pitfalls up with your group? Now, that's a very good question. What you don't want to have happen here is become a crying wolf boy, where everything is going to be a pitfall and everything is going to be bad. So you don't want to be a general alarmist. You want to see potential pitfalls coming and you want to call them out to the people that should care. So if you're running some program or you're doing something where you have some management around and it's like, hey, I think if we keep going down this path, we could encounter this potential problem. And like I've said in some of my other videos, you can do this in a way that's very tactful and allows them an out. So you never really, like, putting people in boxes and cornering them is not going to end well in any social situation, and at work included. So you need to empower people to walk away from whatever the thing is. So when you feel like you need to be alarmist, where there's potential pitfalls, especially if this is something that's like really emotionally getting you going, which I can totally empathize with because that was me a few months ago before I started paying better attention. So if you have situations where you are getting all flustered and worried about things, it's very easy for you to just, oh, what's this potential thing down the track? All right, well, let's call that out. Let's put this in an email or bring it up in a meeting and say, hey, I think if we keep doing this, we're going to encounter this problem. And then you can kind of take that energy and get it away from you. So you can have it at arm's length, or you can just kind of throw it away from you and say, hey, this isn't my problem anymore. And when it comes to things you should emotionally invest in, your sphere of influence and sphere of control. So your control is much smaller than your influence, right? So if you can't control it, why are you worried about it? So maybe just capture it somewhere, put it in an email, write it on a list somewhere saying, okay, this is a potential pitfall, and that can be that. That has definitely made me personally a lot more calm with some potential things I see coming down the road. Since I've become a higher level engineer, this is the sort of thing that I think about almost on a daily basis where, okay, I've done this, a dozen times, 24 times, this particular thing. How can we do this better? Or what things are we going to encounter down the track that are going to cause us strife? If you can start seeing those things coming and figure out a novel way to not fall down that pitfall or to save money or become more efficient, these are very easy ways for you to get ahead in your career, as long as you have the emotional and social intelligence to tactfully broadcast that you're doing them and taking credit for them. Another thing, if you have pushback from your management that they say, oh, those pitfalls aren't going to be pitfalls, something you can do, and obviously this needs to be done with great tact and very carefully, but you could position yourself or the group to kind of put guardrails in place so that the whole ship doesn't capsize if it does fall into that hole. So if it falls into the pitfall because somebody didn't listen to you, you might be able to put some guardrails in place. And this, again, is going to be very situation dependent. But this is another thing that you can use to kind of calm yourself down if you're getting overly excited with something that's pretty much out of your control. So if you can put some guardrails in place, that'll make the damage be lessened if the pitfall does eventuate. This is another thing you can use to kind of calm yourself down, and also is a sign of, again, a very senior engineer with very high intelligence that's thinking several steps ahead. Did you enjoy learning about how to bring up pitfalls at work? If you'd like some more IQ content, you can check out my IQ playlist up here, or if you're ready to move on to emotional intelligence, you can check out my emotional intelligence or EQ playlist down here. Or you can keep getting the same results that you've been getting. Up to you.